Well, we're sort of wrapping things up here on the final day of practice for stop number 6 of the FLW Tour presented by Evinrude. I got Michael Neal. You were going through the no-wake zone here. We made you stop for a little bit, take a little bit of time out of your practice. My first thought is Tennessee River, current, catching fish. There's plenty of current out here, so you got to be catching fish.
Yeah, I mean, I can get some bites, but it's nothing like I thought it was going to be coming into this deal. I was up here last fall for a sponsor deal, and it was just easy to catch fish.
Right.
And it's just not that way right now. I mean, you can get some bites. It's not that hard to go out there and get 10 bites a day, but I don't even know if 5 of those are going to be keepers.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I mean, it's just totally different than what I was expecting. There's a lot of current, and today with this wind we had, there's a lot more dirty water fixing to come into play.
Sure, sure.
So it dirtied up a few places today that I know were really clean, and it's weird. I can't get a grasp on where it's coming from or how it's moving. It's mostly just down the sides.
Right.
It's not really in the middle, but it's just on the sides, and on the sides is where pretty much everybody's fishing right now.
Right, it seems like a lot of those, you know, we got a heavy rain the other day, and a lot of those feeder rivers and creeks that come in, I mean, they're chocolate milk. Jody and I drove past a couple today, and it was blown out, and you get there and it seems like it just finds a current seam and just rolls down. But like you said, unfortunately, that's where a lot of fish have been hanging out.
Yeah.
Have you looked at spawning fish? We've heard that's everyone we've talked to, spawning fish, fish on beds. Is that what you've seen a lot of?
I've seen them. I mean, I've actually seen them on the beds, and I've gotten bites and caught fish that I'm sure were spawning, but I don't think that that's really what I'm going to go after. I know everybody else is doing that. The one real popular place on this pool, Pool 8, where there's a whole bunch of spawning fish, there's probably going to be 20, 30 boats in there.
For sure.
And that's going to be pretty tight, pretty quick, so I'm trying to avoid that.
Well, it's interesting, you know, we've talked to a few people that have sampled other pools this week aside from 8. You mentioned that you checked 9 a little bit. You kind of like what you saw, but now it's that game plan type of thing where is it worth the run down there plus maybe trying to fight barges? Right.
I mean, I had probably more bites on 9 than I did on 8 any day, but I mean, it was just a lot of small ones again. So
right.
I couldn't justify going back down there for a second day of practice when I never saw a 3-pounder. And it's just a lot of risk. I'm kind of right there where I can't have another terrible tournament to make the cup. That's another thing, just fighting those barges, you never know what's going to happen. So
for sure.
Somebody could show up or something could break loose, just like at Pickwick last year, and
yep.
your whole day is gone. So I opted to spend days 2 and 3 right here on 8, and that's where I'm going to land in the tournament.
Well, you still got a few hours of daylight left. We'll let you get back out there, try to find some fish. Good luck, Michael.
Thank you.
Well, we're rolling right along here. We got Kyle Cortiana with us, and we've heard a lot about largemouths this week.
Yeah.
But part of my job, I feel, is to spy on you guys as anglers on your social medias. And I saw a picture of you holding a big old smallmouth from day 1. And now I kind of want to know, have you found a lot more smallmouths?
Sure enough, yeah. Day 1, I was targeting, I thought everything would be spawning. I got to fish a little benefit tournament up north in Pool 4, what we did with the Vikings. FLW did weigh-in and stuff. And a lot of things seemed different there than here. Obviously cooler water temperatures, fish earlier in the game.
Sure.
Came here and tried to find some spawning fish. Found smallmouth spawning in the backwaters, which that was fun. I've never caught smallmouth in a foot of water before, but they're extra mean and easy to catch, and we'll keep those in my back pocket, you know.
Absolutely.
Found a couple big largemouth back there. Then came out the main river trying to fish current breaks and stuff like that. You know, that's what everybody talks about. And I found one spot that's really special. I mean, it's 20, 30 bites if you get one bite kind of deal. You know, there's just loaded with them there on day 1, and that big one was in there. Actually even caught a big largemouth in there mixed in with them, but 90% of them were smallmouth, yeah. And so that spot's real special. And then on day 2, I found another real special spot here in Pool 8 that is just, well, I sat on it for almost 4 hours just to protect it, you know.
Wow.
But, or tried my best.
In your opinion, are these fish post-spawn? Are they pre-spawn fish?
I think most of the smallmouth are post-spawn.
Okay.
I've caught a few mixed in with the bunch that still look like a big fat female that's feeding up, but for the most part, they look post-spawn to me, but they're still pretty darn healthy for a post-spawn fish. They're mean. They eat.
I mean, there's enough bait in this system that it doesn't take them too long to recuperate, that's for sure.
I agree with that.
The interesting thing, a lot of guys have been saying, you know, getting bites. You mentioned a couple specific spots, but by and large, you know, guys, when you come into an area, you can find a group of fish or a pod of fish, and then you might go a while. There's a lot of dead water.
Oh, goodness.
Is the thing you found, is it a pattern?
Yeah, it's a pattern, but what you said is so true. It's so, you fish so long to get a bite, and then you might get 10, 15 keepers in the same spot. You may only catch one there, but it's likely you found a pack of them, which seems to lead more towards post-spawn feeding up anyway.
Sure.
Right? I mean, doesn't it? I don't know, but this river may just be like that. But yeah, what you said is very true. I definitely packed up.
Well, for an Oklahoma guy, I mean, you do have an affinity for brown fish, and I don't know what it is. Where's that come from?
I love them. I've told Jody and you both, there's something about, I was born loving brown fish. I don't know what it is. There's something about them. I seem to understand them better than anybody understands me. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I grew up fishing Little Elk River out of canoe with my dad for smallmouth, and I don't see how that portrays back over to this, but somehow, I don't know, I like them.
Well, I dig it, man. I know, I think with that, we'll let you roll. You got some rigging to do. You get a good night's sleep tomorrow, off day tomorrow. Good luck, Kyle.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, we've been saving the best for last, so we might as well end with the local of all locals, Tom Monsoor. It's an interesting tournament because there's not a lot of times where we go to a place and have basically one guy that has spent his whole life on this particular body of water. I mean, can you even count how many hours you think you spent out here on the Mississippi?
No. No.
Not always necessarily trying to catch something with a rod and reel. I mean, there's commercially fishing, but you've probably seen a ton of huge bass doing that, haven't you?
Yeah, all my life. It's all I've done all my life is fish one way or the other.
Yeah, it didn't matter how, you were just doing it.
As long as I was catching fish, didn't matter if it was carp or bass. I was happy. As long as I was fishing, I was happy.
Well, I got to ask you this because we haven't really been able to get this out of anyone. This time of year on the Mississippi River, what's it normally like? I mean, you've seen it for years. Most of these guys, this is their first time. So tell us just an overview of what it's like on the Mississippi in the spring.
This river is like nothing else there is. You go to a lake, it's always the same. You come to the Mississippi River, it changes from day to day. The river's dropping 8 inches every day right now. So the places you caught fish on Sunday in 2 feet of water are dry today. So the guys are gonna, now, the guys who know what's going on with the water dropping and everything are gonna kill them. Because they are it's starting to happen right now. I saw it today where they're starting to, you get a spot and there's a bunch. And those guys that find that, they're gonna have some big bags. I mean, I only found one spot like that and it was bang, 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 and we got out of there. I mean, it was just, they're on. These bass up here, they bite.
They do, they like eating.
If you find them, you catch them. If you're not catching bass, there's none there. If you get where the bass are, they will bite. No matter what you're throwing, I don't care what it is, they will bite it.
Well, from talking to some of the other local guys, like Mike Brugan, Cade Laufenberg, they mentioned that you're going to need both species to do well in this event. Do you agree with that statement?
You know, the smallmouth right now are in a funk. Now, I know, I talked to Scott Martin this morning, and he's been out with Cade. He fished that charity tournament up on Pepin last Saturday with him. And I talked to him this morning. I said, how's that smallmouth thing going? Not that great. And I said, I know it ain't because I've been out looking for him. And you can catch 2-pounders like I caught for the TV show this morning. Yep. And I caught one good one the other day. And that, how you're going to catch them when you do is with the largemouth.
Okay, mixed in.
Right. You're not, when you target, it isn't like when Cade was out earlier when they were bunched up. Right now, I'm not sure what they're doing, if they're, some are spawning or done spawning or where they are or what they're doing. I caught a couple today, that one was okay, and some 2s and a 3. But you're going to have both no matter what, because you catch everything here. Right. You never know. You never know what you're going to catch from cast to cast, except back in the lakes where it's, you know, back in the backwaters. And then even once in a while you get a smallmouth. I've caught them in the lily pads. I don't know what they were doing, but you know, this is La Crosse, Wisconsin.
It's all fair game.
It's all fair game here. But it changes every day. I mean, in the river, the river fluctuates, you know, 4 or 5 feet. And when it does that, it changes the whole ball game.
Sure.
Or if we get a monsoon rain, you know, and muddies everything up, you better be able to adjust, or you're gonna fall.
Do you think with the a lot of the guys have been saying they've seen a lot of fish spawning this week, and with the water falling, I know a lot of them have been spawning in pretty shallow water.
Dry ground.
It pulls them out, so you're going to need to be able to, like a lot of these guys that have never been here are going to basically have to re-practice, you think, during the tournament to find where they got basically forced into.
Things are changing right now big time, every day. And I saw it today where it's really changing, and all I know is the guys that find them are really going to find them. You know, it's going to be on. For some of these guys, it's really going to happen. I'll guarantee you that. I just hope I'm one of them.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Does it have you kind of licking your chops a little bit, going, well, you know, if I...
This is the craziest year I've ever had on tour. I've had the best practices. I've had 30-pound bags, 20-pound bags, every tournament. And then tournament days, I don't know why they don't bite. They bite in practice, and I'm not hooking them all or anything like that. I know all about not hooking fish. I'm old enough to know all the tricks. You know, I might go 2 blocks and catch one, and go 2 blocks and catch one, leaving so much area that you can't mess it up. And it just, Bobby Lane called me the other day on the way home, and he said, you know, he wanted to know something about Chickamauga. And I was talking, he said, well, his brother was having his worst year ever. He never placed under 100. And there's only 105 guys, I think, on the elites. So he's really doing bad, too. He says he's having good practices, but he just can't catch him. And I said, God, it's like exactly what's happening to me. And it happens. There's nothing you can do about it, you know. But I love fishing, so it don't matter.
Have you had a terrible practice this week?
Not really. So I'm probably in bad shape. You know, when you have bad practices, it seems like you do better. I don't know. You know. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go have fun. I get to sleep in my own bed.
Can't beat that.
Get to fry fish every night. So I mean, it don't get any better than this.
Well,
I'm just thankful FLW came here before I died.
For a tour event, we've had Costas here, we have BFLs here all the time, but tour, first time. The final thing I want to ask you, Tom, before I let you go fry up all the fish you got hanging out in your live well.
Yep.
What do you think we'll see for a cut weight? And then what do you think we'll see for a winning weight?
It'll be 30 pounds probably for a cut weight.
Okay.
And that's tough. A lot of my fish run under 3 pounds. So that's why it's anybody's game, you know. I've caught a couple of bigger ones, but to get that bigger bite, that's the guys that make the cut. Okay. Everybody's going to have 2 10s, 2 12s, you know.
Sure.
That's the average size. So if you don't catch a 4 or 5 pounder, you're out.
What do you think about for overall winning weight? Somewhere in a ballpark at least.
Well, 60 pounds or better.
I like it.
You know?
I like it.
And there'll be a lot of fish caught. There'll be some real good TV. I'll guarantee that.
Well, I think that is a perfect note to end on, Tom. Like I said, I'll let you go fry up some crappies, pike, and walleye, and whatever else, catfish.
Walleye, catfish, and northern.
Well, thanks for joining me, man, and good luck.